If you've ever taken a personality test and ended up with the INFJ result, you might have felt a mix of, wow, that's me, and wait, why is this so accurate? INFJs are one of the rarest personality types in the Myers-Briggs system. They stand for introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. But those letters only tell part of the story. INFJs are deep thinkers. They care about people, emotions, and meaning. They notice things others don't. A small change in someone's mood, a deeper message in a conversation, or even patterns in behavior. But here's the thing. Even though they care about people, they don't always want to be seen by them. Being noticed can feel uncomfortable for INFJs. It can feel like a spotlight is shining on their thoughts, feelings, and actions, things they usually keep private. They are naturally introverted, which means they recharge by being alone or in calm, quiet environments. Crowds, constant noise, and attention, not their thing. It's not about being shy. INFJs can be strong leaders and amazing speakers when they want to be, but they prefer doing it in their own way, with intention and depth. They don't enjoy attention for attention's sake. If there's no purpose behind it, it just feels fake. So if you're an INFJ who cringes when people suddenly look at you, praise you out loud, or ask personal questions in a group, you're not alone. There are real reasons why being noticed feels uncomfortable for this personality type. Let's explore them one by one. Reason 1. Overstimulation and sensory overload. For INFJs, the outside world can be loud, not just in sound, but in energy. When people notice you, they bring their energy toward you. That might be excitement, curiosity, judgment, or even admiration. But to an INFJ, all of it can feel like too much. Imagine walking into a room and suddenly everyone turns to look at you. Some people might enjoy that moment. INFJs usually do not. Their nervous system tends to process information deeply. That means every little detail, a raised eyebrow, a loud voice, a curious stare, gets noticed, felt, and thought about. Being noticed often comes with questions, comments, and the pressure to respond quickly. INFJs don't always think or speak fast. They prefer time to reflect. So when all eyes are on them, they might freeze, overthink, or feel like they're not being their real selves. That moment of attention becomes overwhelming instead of empowering. Even positive attention can be stressful. Compliments can feel awkward. Public praise can trigger a kind of emotional overload. It's not that they don't appreciate kind words. They do. But being the center of attention makes them feel exposed. It's like someone just walked into their private mental space without knocking. Also, INFJs tend to pick up on other people's feelings. So in a crowd, or in a situation where lots of people are focused on them, they might start to absorb the moods and thoughts around them. That creates emotional noise. It's hard to think clearly or feel calm in those moments. That's why many INFJs avoid attention altogether, not because they hate people, but because the sensory and emotional weight that comes with being noticed can throw them off balance. Peace, quiet, and a little space to breathe. That's where INFJs feel strongest. Reason 2. Fear of misunderstanding. INFJs often feel like they live in a world where most people don't fully get them. They think deeply, care deeply, and have layers to their personality that don't show up right away. So when they're noticed, especially in a quick or surface-level way, they fear being misunderstood. Let's say an INFJ shares an idea in a group. If someone reacts quickly, with confusion or judgment, that moment can feel sharp and personal. INFJs tend to replay conversations in their head afterward, wondering, did I say that wrong, or did they take it the wrong way? Being noticed puts them in a place where that kind of doubt grows. This fear isn't about being shy. It's about how much meaning INFJs put into their words and actions. They want to be understood in the right way. They want their message, their intent, and their heart to come through clearly. But the truth is, that doesn't always happen in fast-paced or high-attention moments. Also, INFJs often keep a lot of their thoughts and feelings private, not because they're secretive, but because they're protective of their inner world. When someone suddenly points a spotlight at them, in a meeting, a classroom, or even on social media, they worry that people will see only the surface, not the full picture. To an INFJ, being misunderstood feels worse than being ignored. It creates emotional tension. They may start to question themselves, or even withdraw just to avoid it happening again. This is why being noticed can feel risky. It's not just about being seen, it's about being seen wrong. And for someone who values emotional truth and depth, that kind of attention just doesn't feel worth it. So they stay low-key. They observe. They wait until they feel safe or fully prepared to share themselves. INFJs would rather connect deeply with one person who understands them than be noticed by 100 people who don't. Reason 3. They value authenticity over popularity. NFJs are not interested in being popular if it means being fake. For them, realness is everything. They want their words, actions, and presence to come from a true place. That's why being noticed, especially in a social or public setting, can feel uncomfortable. It often pushes them to act in ways that don't feel natural. In many social situations, attention comes with a kind of pressure. You're expected to smile, laugh at the right times, make small talk, and fit in. For INFJs, all of that can feel like a performance. They might do it well. Many are good at blending in when needed, but afterward they feel drained. The truth is, INFJs would rather be genuine than liked. If being noticed means putting on a show, they'd rather pass. They don't want to pretend to be more energetic, more cheerful, or more outgoing than they really feel. That kind of attention just doesn't sit right with them. This focus on authenticity also means INFJs are picky about where they put their energy. They want conversations that matter, people who are real, and situations where they can be themselves without judgment. But the kind of attention that comes from being noticed often lacks that depth. Social media is a good example. INFJs may feel uncomfortable posting selfies or personal updates, not because they lack confidence, but because it feels like self-promotion. They don't want to be seen just for how they look or what they say in a few words. They want to be seen for who they are. This mindset can make INFJs seem mysterious or distant. But it's not about being cold, it's about being true. They would rather be unnoticed and real than visible and fake. That's why INFJs often choose the quiet path. They do their work behind the scenes, support others without seeking credit, and speak up only when they feel it really matters. Because for them, being true to themselves is more important than being seen by others. Reason 4. Desire for privacy and deep focus. NFJs need time alone like they need air. Privacy isn't just a luxury for them, it's a core part of their well-being. When they're alone, they can think clearly, feel deeply, and recharge from the constant noise of the outside world. Being noticed breaks that peace. It brings in outside voices, distractions, and the feeling of being watched. Even if it's not negative attention, just knowing others are focused on them can make INFJs feel off balance. Their thoughts get cloudy, their emotions stir up, and their sense of calm slips away. This personality type thrives on deep focus. They like to dive into complex ideas, projects, or emotions, things that require full mental energy. But when they're in the spotlight, that focus is interrupted. Suddenly, they're thinking about how they look, what others are thinking, or how they're being judged. It pulls them out of their natural zone. This is also why INFJs often avoid group work or busy office settings. It's not that they can't handle them. Many INFJs are very capable, but they function best when they have quiet space to think, plan, and reflect without outside pressure. Being noticed often brings that pressure. Questions like, "What are you working on?" or "Can you share that with the team?" can feel invasive. It forces them to open up their private world before they're ready, or before they've finished forming their ideas. INFJs also don't like being rushed. They prefer to work at their own pace, go deep into a task, and make sure it feels right before sharing. Attention usually demands speed and surface-level answers, two things INFJs are not fans of. So when they pull back from attention, it's not because they don't care or don't want to be part of things. It's because they need space to be their best. Their focus and creativity shine in quiet, private places, not under bright lights or loud voices. By staying out of the spotlight, INFJs protect their mental clarity and emotional strength. And for them, that's a smart trade-off. Reason 5. Inner critic and perfectionism. Inside most INFJs lives a loud inner critic. It's the voice that says, you could have done that better, or they're going to judge you. This internal voice often gets louder when they're being noticed. Suddenly, every move feels like it's under a microscope, and the pressure to be perfect kicks in. INFJs hold themselves to high standards. They want to do things the right way, the meaningful way, and the thoughtful way. So when attention is on them, they feel a need to live up to those standards. And if they fall short, even just a little, their inner critic can be brutal. This makes being noticed feel risky. It's not just about being seen. It's about being seen not at your best. And for INFJs, that's hard to accept. They don't want to show up half-prepared or unsure. They want their words and actions to reflect their full depth and care. This perfectionism also makes INFJs hesitant to speak up or share their work until they feel it's perfect. They might spend hours rethinking a message, editing a project, or planning a response, all because they fear the judgment that comes with being noticed too soon. And even when they are noticed and praised, INFJs might downplay it or question it. That inner critic can twist compliments into doubts, like, they're just being nice, or, if they really knew me, they wouldn't say that. All of this creates a strange cycle. They want to be understood and respected, but they fear that being noticed will expose flaws they're still trying to fix. So they stay quiet, keep to themselves, and wait for a moment that feels good enough, which might never come. This mindset can lead to missed opportunities, but for the INFJ, it feels safer than the pain of being seen and judged. They'd rather wait and be truly ready than risk being caught off guard. In the end, it's not that INFJs hate being seen. They just want to be seen for who they really are, at their best. And their perfectionism often stands in the way of that. Reason 6, past experiences and emotional sensitivity. INFJs don't forget how things feel. If they've been embarrassed, judged, or hurt in the past, after being noticed, that memory sticks. And it doesn't just sit there, it grows roots. Emotional pain for an INFJ goes deep, and even small moments of discomfort can leave a long-lasting impression. Maybe they were teased for speaking up. Maybe they shared something personal and it was used against them. Or maybe they just felt exposed at the wrong time. Whatever the case, past experiences often shape how INFJs act in the present. If being noticed once led to hurt, they'll do everything they can to avoid that hurt again. This ties into their emotional sensitivity. INFJs pick up on subtle vibes, tones, and look. If someone responds with even a hint of sarcasm or disapproval, they'll feel it strongly. That emotional depth is a gift. It helps them connect and understand people, but it also makes rejection or judgment hit harder. So when someone says, "Why don't you speak up more?" or "You should put yourself out there," it's not that simple. INFJs aren't just being shy. They're protecting themselves. They've learned that not all attention is kind, and they're not willing to risk their emotional peace just to be seen. This is why INFJs often shine in smaller groups or one-on-one settings. It feels safer, more honest, and more respectful of their emotional space. They can open up slowly, without the fear of being overwhelmed or hurt. In short, INFJs don't avoid attention for no reason. They avoid it because they remember. And they have learned that guarding their heart is sometimes the smartest thing they can do. Conclusion: embracing the INFJ. When being noticed isn't for everyone. And that's okay. For INFJs, attention often brings pressure, discomfort, and emotional noise. But in the quiet, in the background, they do some of their best work. They think deeply, care fiercely, and create real change, all without needing the spotlight. If you're an INFJ, know this: your power isn't in being seen, it's in being real. You don't have to force yourself to fit into a loud world. Your calm, your thoughtfulness, your authenticity, that's your strength. And you're allowed to protect it.